So the task is to simplify this. There's a lot of different ways you can go about this. First of all, when I'm thinking simplify, one of the things that jumps out at me is that there's secant and cosine together in here. As you do more and more of these, you'll start to see relationships and things to do. But cosine and secant are very closely related in my mind because the secant of y is 1 over the cosine of y. So I have the option of turning this into 1 plus cosine y over 1 plus 1 over cosine y, because that's what the secant of y is. Now, did I just complicate things or did I simplify things? I'm trying to simplify. Well, I did probably both. I simplified it in the sense that I now only have one trig function involved here. This has just cosines in it, where that one had 2. But I've complicated it in that now I've got a 3-layer fraction. Like, well, that I can deal with from previous knowledge. I can turn 3-layer fractions into 2-layer fractions. There's lots of ways that people do this. Some get a common denominator, invert and multiply. I have a tendency to do this by multiplying by 1. So I'm going to take this thing and multiply it by a fraction with the same numerator and denominator. And by multiplying by 1, I don't change the value. I just change what it looks like. Right? This didn't change value because secant of y and 1 over cosine y are the same thing. So I didn't change any values here. I just changed what it looks like. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by cosine y. You might say, why did you choose that? I can do anything I want. I could multiply by 7 over 7, and I'd get a perfectly true statement. But it may not get me anywhere. The thing is, I'm trying to get this down to fewer layers of fraction. So I looked at each one of the things that's in this, the 1, the cosine y, the 1 over cosine y. And I looked at all the denominators. In fact, there was only one denominator here, cosine y, and that's what I'm going to multiply by. The thing is, I want to cancel that denominator out. So here we go. But then at the same time, I'm thinking ahead a little bit. I'm trying to simplify stuff. So when I multiply the top, I'm not actually going to distribute it through. I'm just going to say that this is what has to happen. That thing is going to be multiplied by cosine y. And on the bottom, I am going to distribute it in. I am going to say take this times this, and take it times that. And so I get cosine y times 1, which is cosine y. And then I get cosine y times this fraction, and this is the reason why I chose this, is that the cosine y on the denominator cancels with the cosine y that I'm multiplying, and I just get a plus 1 left there. Right? Now I do have a 2-layer fraction, and I'm thinking, boy, does that simplify it all? And because I left this factored, I didn't distribute it on the top, I didn't multiply it out, I can see that, oh, the 1 plus cosine y on the top here, and the 1 plus cosine y on the bottom, addition is commutative, doesn't matter if I add them in either order. Those are the same thing. A factor multiplying on the top, a factor multiplying on the bottom. Those are going to cancel out. And I'm just left with cosine y. So this whole thing up here, this 1 plus cosine y over 1 plus secant y, it turns out is equal to cosine y. Go figure. I don't think that's obvious at all. But what did we do? We multiplied by 1. That didn't change the value. We use a distributive property. That's okay to do. Doesn't change the value. We canceled out another 1. That is, I'm multiplying by this and dividing by that. I'm multiplying by this. Multiplying and dividing by the same thing. It's like multiplying by 1. That goes away. I just got cosine y. So anyway, there's that. As you do these and work with these trig functions, you'll start seeing these things to try. You don't necessarily know ahead of time, hey, if I switch this into that, is that going to help me out? I don't know. So you try it and you see what happens. You just do some legal algebra from that point. Anyway, there's that one.